out to play.
Next up, my brother, Dennis Febo, was of our insight. Gonna talk to you about Amendment 13. If we think we free or not.
Dang.
I say peace, you say peace. Peace, family.
Peace.
Peace, family.
Peace.
When I say I chair, you say I chair. I chair.
I chair.
I chair.
I chair.
All right, family. My name is Dennis Febo. I'm the founder and CEO of Marcellus Insights or Warrior Insights LLC. We're a health and educational services provider. We work with the incarcerated community members of Hudson County for the past 7 years, as well as working with our juvenile detainees and our at-risk youth. I've been in there 7 years, family, by myself, and by myself I've seen thousands of inmates. Most of them happen to have melanated skin. Throughout my study and my research and everything that I've done, I started to realize when we start to question these concepts of racism, this is for allyship and this is for the fight at home. There were two men that invented race, Christoph Meiners and Johann Blumenbach. Blumenbach invented 5 racial categorizations: Caucasians white, Malays yellow, Americans red, we had brown, and we had Ethiopian for black. Right? Those 5 racial categorizations were created in 1776. What else happened in 1776? The foundation of this country. It just so happened that George Washington was scrolling on his Instagram feed and saw whatever it is that the Germans were posting and said, oh, let's adopt these identities. But inherently, it was a caste system. Where black people, the more melanated you were, the further you regressed away from being a human being.
Damn.
He even suggested that if black people worked hard enough, they could be white again. This is the founder of what we call racial scientific racism. Yes. And it is what founded our ideologies of this very country. Our own pledge, our own anthem in it says that the slave has nowhere to run. The very foundation of this country is embedded in racism. But it wasn't just for shits and giggles. It had to do with the fact that it had to remove you from your humanity. If I remove you from your humanity, you now in law become property.
Yes.
This is why when you're in a jail and you have a jumpsuit on, it says property of. Slavery never ended. It only transformed. Years later, after 1776, almost 100 years later, this country saw the biggest war it ever had. 620,000 lives were lost to fight for or against slavery. But it ended in one sentence, something that the Republican abolitionists were pushing, and the Democrats wanted to keep slavery. And at the last minute, Abraham Lincoln ceded to a last minute clause, something we call the convict clause, or the exception clause, which says, slavery and involuntary servitude are herefore abolished, except as punishment for crime where a party have been duly convicted in the United States and all of its territories. 2 years later, the state of New Jersey was the last state in the Union to adopt the 13th Amendment, however, never wrote it into the state constitution. All right? So first and foremost, the battle it's almost like saying, this is a computer code. If I have the wrong coding, my system's gonna glitch. So out of all the fight for racial and justice reform, we have to talk about the 13th Amendment and eliminating any language in the land of the free that alludes to anybody being in a position of being a slave when in voluntary service. Not only that, the United States of America is 5% of the world's population, yet 25% of the world's inmates.
25.
In Hudson County Correction, we're at the 90th percentile. 90% of juveniles waived up in the state of New Jersey and tried as adults were black. 97% of detainees in Hudson County are black. We are not the majority of the population. So I'm not saying that this is racial, I'm saying this is codified in law. They have the ability to remove you from your humanity, and now is the time to stand. We are all human beings, according to natural law, in the eyes of God. And no language belongs in our Constitution that alludes to anybody being a slave. So, working with the inmates of Hudson County, we wrote a proposal, petition to the Black Legislative Caucus. Senator Rice and Assemblywoman McKnight both signed on.
Yeah!
45.
Yeah!
New Jersey. I has
Yeah.
the right to vote to eliminate slavery
Yeah.
and voluntary servitude.
Yeah.
The time is now, family. But we can't get caught up in the loopholes, because there's a lot of side arguments that take us away from what we're supposed to move. If the conversation is making you lose energy, shut it down, turn it off. One of the biggest words and powerful words I've learned in my language is the word no. Learn how to say no. Don't give away your energy so easy, because we need that energy in order to work. And we got a lot of work to do, community. We got a lot of work to do. We need structures, we need businesses, we need economy, and we definitely don't need our black and brown bodies making 89 cents a day behind that wall. With that being said, register to vote, recognize Amendment 13, baby. I love y'all. Peace.
Power to the people! Oh, I just love my collective group of friends, brothers,